Hello, and welcome back to Satisfactory Outposts in the Desert. We are back on top of the copper outpost. All of the production lines have been belted to respective storage containers. You'll see that the copper wire and the ingots, we've got two belts going into each of their storage containers because we have two belts being produced and feeding the lines below. The outputs are just too great for one even Mark V belt, so we need two belts. Fortunately, the freight stations can accommodate that with their double inputs, and so these will fill it at twice the rate. Now, something we may encounter in the future once we've expanded our power grid, we've upgraded to Mark V belts, and we're hooking all of these constructors and smelters up to the power grid to reach our full capacity. These containers may be filled before a single train can make its rounds, and if that happens, we'll need to add a second train to this route. I hope it does. That'd be cool. More trains, the better. So the copper outpost completely done now for the moment. All that's left in the future will be to upgrade the belts and connect more machines to the power grid. Let's hop in the train and just continue on the route a little bit. We're going to pick up these copper components and then head out to the oil outpost, where I've constructed a very similar but smaller train station just to collect the oil, or sorry, not the oil, the plastic and the rubber. So the cars were full. We didn't need to actually dock there. And you'll see I've laid all the tracks and I've placed the pillar tops. I haven't gotten to all of the pillars themselves. It's a really time-consuming task for one person, and that's something that's better done, in the hours that it takes for these videos to upload and be processed to YouTube. Oh, clipping. I really wish there was a train signaling system where you could add signals and it would read the track ahead of it and see if there's any collision. Just the clipping makes me crazy. Okay, so we're not going to stop at the station. We're going straight through. What I've done is I've adjusted the routes so that instead of going from outpost to station to the next outpost to the station to the next outpost and back to the station, that's just a lot of wasted time, right? So we're gonna collect all of the components at various outposts, and then we'll dock at the station to unload them all at once. I think that'll be a more efficient use of the trains. So we're heading out to the oil outpost. I've got most of these pillars done. You'll see the pillar bottoms are still not done. It's too hard to get the angle from up here. So we'll have to make a pass on the ground level and just finish the pillars and add the bases. So many pillars. It takes hours and hours. Each of these pillars is more than 100 concrete too. It's not resource light. Okay, approaching the oil train station. It's on the same level as the train in the distance there that just delivers our compacted coal to the fuel generators. And we're in the very near future, we're going to need to expand these fuel generators, probably double them to 60. Remember, this setup can support 120 fuel generators burning turbo fuel. Right now we only have 30, but we're reaching the point where we'll need to add more fuel generators. Okay, so we're loading up on rubber and plastic. Looks kind of jerky from a distance. And now we're heading back to the storage hub to unload all 8 cars. So this is our receiving B train. It collects heavy modular frames, copper wire, copper cable, copper sheets, copper ingots, and then plastic and rubber. So 3 outposts, all unloading in the receiving B station. Kind of winding through these cliffs here. Over a few geysers. So the next big thing is we're going to continue working towards the production, the automation of computers, and that'll all happen in our electronic outpost. Now the electronic outpost is going to be very large, and it's going to be very vertical because there are many different products we need to produce, and most products will have their own level of the outpost. When I was planning this out and I was calculating the amount of the different products I'd need, it became apparent that the 2 pure nodes of caterium in the desert dunes was not going to be nearly sufficient. You actually need like 3.5 pure nodes, all with Mark III miners, all with Mark V belts, to support the level of production we're going to need to make 10 supercomputers a minute. So it seemed like the only thing to do was to set up another train rail, a train network that's not connected to this network of fetching goods from Outpost and delivering it to the storage hub. This will just be a simple loop visiting various caterium ore nodes and delivering it to the electronic factory. So let's head out to the electronic factory. It's this white gold color. I tried to approximate the color of caterium wire, quick wire. Probably should have stocked up on supplies, but we'll make it work here. You can always go back. My inventory's pretty full right now. So right now I've only built basically the first floor, and I think I got the ceiling up there too for the second floor. But we're heading down below, and this is where all of the caterium ore will be delivered. It's just I think it's 4 freight stations, which means we need 4 freight cars, which means 2 engines. 2 engines, 4 cars. And each of these freight platforms will be filled with caterium ore. And then each freight station will be lifted, its contents will be lifted to the floor above to be smelted into caterium ingots. So let's rename this. I guess we'll just call it caterium receiving. Did that take? Yep, okay. Let's hop in our train. Again, the rails are done, the pillar tops are placed, but I haven't gotten to just the mindless drudgery of placing the pillars themselves. This is the first pure caterium node. It's just to the north of our heavy modular frame factory. So I've got a Mark II miner here, and it should have 2 power shards in it. Yeah, that boosts the production rate to 480, which is the current capacity of our Mark IV belts. Let's name this caterium ore A. And hop back in the train. Now we're going out of the dune desert just a little bit. There's a cluster of 3 normal caterium nodes that are a few hundred feet apart from each other. And so I had to run down and I put Mark II miners on each of the 3 nodes. And because they're normal, not pure, I put in 3 power shards to take them to 250%, so that their output will be 300 ore per minute at the moment, each. This is the future crystal outpost. It's got 6 normal quartz nodes nearby, 3 on each side. And that's going to be in a future episode, not too far in the future. Need to apply the brakes here. Okay. Just hop up here and get a little more view. So we've got 1 miner directly west, 1 miner. I guess we've got the time. I'll quickly run just to show where the miners are placed. It's not foggy right now. there's a fluffy tail hog on the belt. That's funny. Okay. So it's off the cliff. It's down below. I had to use 3 conveyor lifts to get it up here. It's a normal node, so I had to use 3 power shards to get it to 300, which is still not max capacity for a Mark IV belt. And once we bump that up to a Mark III miner, you know, the output will double to 600. That's not max capacity for a Mark V belt. Mark Vs can handle 780 items per minute. And that's why we have 3 belts here. We're going to have the belt from the north feeding 1 freight platform, the belt from the south feeding another, and the belt from the west. We're just going to split its output here between the 2, just to augment them a little bit. To hopefully like max out it'll more than max out a Mark V belt whenever it's unloaded from the electronics factory station. This will be caterium ore B. And we're heading back to the desert. So here's the crystal outpost again to the north, on the left. This is where we will take all of that quartz, refine it into crystals and silica, and then on the floor above that we will turn those crystals into crystal oscillators to be shipped out. Actually, all 3 of those products, the crystals, the silica, and the oscillators, will all be shipped back to the storage hub. we'll need 2 train stations there because we'll have to import the items to combine with the crystals to make the oscillators, and then 1 train station to take everything, all the products to the storage hub. This is a long train route. I think it's possible that we may need 2 trains making this loop. We won't really know for sure until it's all set up and, you know, the belts are unloading. If you know, if the receiving trains, the receiving freight platforms are emptied before the train returns with a resupply of caterium ore, then it may be worthwhile to add a second train to the loop. Alright, we're back in the desert. That's the steel outpost on the left, coming up on the limestone outpost. And now we're picking up speed as we go downhill to the third outpost. Putting on the brakes. Okay. This is the node we've been using for most of the game. I blew up the boulder. Where is it at? There was a boulder there. I used the explosives to blow it up. Actually, we haven't vaulted this up yet. We need to do that. So this is a pure node. We need 2 power shards to take it to 480. Have I got the material allow me to do this? Yeah, I do. Okay. So I want to say this is like the last freight car. I should have stayed up there when I started this process. We just need to add some walls and conveyor lifts. This is the input. Single wall. Another wall. Let's get a conveyor lift. Okay, so we're gonna need to do one of these. Now we'll really have to listen for the beeps. Oh. I think that's it. Fingers crossed. Let's head back up. We still need to power that miner. But what's nice about these train stations is that any station that's connected to your power grid, the electricity will travel through the rails and power all of the connected stations without, the need for power lines. So what you can do on these little outposts is we can just take a line from the station to a power pole and then down to the miner. Well, we forgot to add our belts. Let's just make sure this window is lined up. Looks good. Yeah. Should have used this window. Oh well, not a big deal. All right. And that's the third caterium ore station. Now let's head back up and automate our route. I think we need to rename this station still. Yep. Caterium ore C. Go to the timetable. We're going to rename this the caterium train. And we'll have 4 stops. Receiving A, B, C. Turn on autopilot and hop back in the train before it goes. Now we just travel to the north of our coal generators. Just barely avoid clipping under that hybrid tube. And we're back at the electronics outpost. Why aren't we stopping? Oh. It must be headed towards one of the other outposts, and that's fine. Oh, it says the next step is caterium receiving. Did we need to set these up to unload? Yeah. These all need to be set to unload by default. Okay. So, the electronics outpost. It's going to be big. Like I said, we need like 3.5 pure nodes supplying this beast to get all of the quick wire we'll need. This is the first floor. It's just going to be smelters, turning all of the caterium ore into caterium ingots. Each freight platform is going to feed one row of 16 smelters. Let's take a look at the recipe here. It's 45 ore per minute, produces 15 ingots per minute. So we've got 4 rows of 16, that's 64 smelters total. So 64 smelters times 45. It needs 2,880 caterium ore every minute for the smelter array. Like almost 3,000 ore a minute. Crazy. And that will produce 960 caterium ingots per minute. So the output is more than one belt can handle, one Mark V belt. Let's just get some. Do I have enough quick wire on me to power these up? I think so. I could even use normal wire. Yeah, I think I've got enough cable. Okay. Oh, it's too tall. Okay. The ceiling is too low to put these power poles. Maybe they've just changed it. Where you can't put them on top of the splitters anymore with the new model. I haven't really checked that. If that's the case, we'll definitely be using Mark II power poles. And we'll hook up 4 smelters to each power line. I'm really a little bit concerned about our power grid. We don't need to hook up all of these smelters because we're not using Mark V belts. You know, we won't have the ore to feed them all. So I guess we'll try to hook up maybe half of them. I think our power grid can support that. Let's put down our power poles here. Let's see, that's 8. This would be 12. 16. This should be half. Or half of these 2 rows anyway. And we'll do the same thing over here. This is wrong. There we go. Okay. So now we've got 32 of our 64 smelters hooked up to the power grid. Those will start once our first shipment of caterium ore arrives. Let's belt the outputs up to the second floor. The second floor is going to be quick wire. And we'll probably need to run back to the station hub to pick up a few components. Let's take a look at the quick wire recipe. I had originally thought that we'd be using the alternate recipe. The basic recipe is 1 ingot makes 5 quick wire. alternate recipe requires 1 caterium ingot plus 5 copper ingots to make 12. So it stretches the amount of caterium. It stretches your caterium ingots to make more quick wire. But when I looked at the amount of quick wire we would need, and that's 4,625 quick wire every minute. That's going to be consumed by this electronics outpost. The amount of copper ingots, it was way too high. It was huge. And I think we're going to need the copper ingots we have to supplement, to make our alclad aluminum sheets. So we'll be using the basic quickwire recipe that just requires caterium ingots made in a constructor. And we're going to need 80 constructors making quickwire. Let's see if we have the materials. Need more cable. Okay. Let's put a box here. Unload some of our concrete just for now. We're going to want it later. We're going to want all these belts for sure. Okay, let's head back to the storage hub. So 80 constructors. Oh man, the power this is going to take. Okay, so while we're getting these, let's talk about the electronics factory. It's going to be many floors, probably more floors than any outpost so far, including the storage hub. But they won't be as tall as these. They'll be, shorter floors, but more of them. We've got the train underneath delivering the caterium. First floor, we're making ingots with smelters. Second floor, it's just turning those ingots into quick wire with constructors. The third floor, we're going to turn the quick wire into circuit boards and also AI limiters. The fourth floor, we'll be turning the quick wire and circuit boards into high-speed connectors and computers. And then the fifth floor will be turning the computers, high-speed connectors, AI limiters into supercomputers on the fifth floor. Then on the roof, we'll have 2 train stations, one to bring in the other products we need, and one to ship all of those products. And I mean, we'll be shipping out quick wire, AI limiters, high-speed connectors, computers, and supercomputers. I don't think we need to ship out circuit boards. So 5 components that are being made in that outpost will be shipped back to the storage hub. Okay, let's pick up some cable. See, these are all being unloaded. It looks like these storage containers may already be full. Is that the case? Are these all full? Okay. I'm going to go ahead and just delete some of these. And I'm doing this because they're not being consumed right now. And if our refineries that are making plastic and rubber back up with too much plastic, and then they will stop making heavy oil residue. And if they stop making heavy oil residue, then we stop making turbo fuel, and our fuel generators shut down, and we run out of power. One thing that I will note is that when I was belting these components from receiving B over to our storage containers, I had to increase the height of the belts from storage A just to avoid clipping. Now the storage A's are belted to the top input of the containers. This is another autosave hitch, I'm sorry. And that just allows these double belts of ingots and wire to go underneath them without clipping. So let's pick up our cable. It's on the ground floor. Okay. That looks good. We're going to set up all of our quick wire production. And then do we want to look, maybe start circuit boards as well? I think we need 22 assemblers making circuit boards. Let's just get the components for that while we're here. 22. Okay, so reinforced iron plates and rotors. Now, you know, we're not currently making rotors anywhere. They're not automated. We haven't set up our motor factory again yet. But we have a decent supply of rotors just waiting to be picked up. We'll go and do that. And then head back out to the electronics outpost. I don't think I've got rotors in any of these boxes, do I? That'd be ideal. Nope. I need to put a few of my factory carts here. Oh. Okay. This was the previous motor factory. That's a container full of motors. We'll use those as we add more trains. Stators, rotors. Okay. Let's just grab 2 sacks. And we'll head back to the electronics outpost. I like the way these windows look. Looks like, you know, like an office building. So setting up quick wire is going to be easy. You just need to make 4 rows of 20. The one thing that we need to, the only hitch here is that the outputs are going to exceed the belt capacity. So that's what we need to consider. Let's go up to the next level. Set our windows. It's not right. See just down below, that's the hypertube that leads to the compacted coal / future battery factory. I still want to make batteries, even though there's not a real need for them right now. Like, we're not really using vehicles at the moment. Not in an automated way, you know? You can still like hop in the Explorer and use it to zip around. It's good to have batteries for that. Okay. Now let's belt up our caterium ingots. You can see they're already backed up. That's good. Our train is working. Okay, so now because the caterium ingots are coming up here, or like in two belts, we may want to go like a back to back in our quick wire production. Like that makes sense to me. I really need another hotbar. Sometimes you don't get the click. I don't know why that is. Okay. So let's count this out. We've got these are rows of 16, and it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 empty foundations on the east side, and now we'll check the west. One, two, three, four, 5 empty foundations on the west side. So I think we'll just add 2 constructors on each side, and we'll still be centered. The issue here is that where the smelters are feeding inward, or they're outputting inward, our constructors will be inputting inward. That terminology is weird, but it'll make sense. Let's get a splitter. So this would be the first foundation out. This will be the second foundation. We're gonna input from behind me. Let's center it. Let's center it for real this time. All right. That's the easy part. Now let's put these on our hotbar here. Let's put 1 space between. And now we can just put like a row of 19 more on each, and that'll be 40, half of our total production. But we need to look. Each one will be making 60 per minute, right? So the maximum capacity for a Mark V belt is 780. 780 divided by 60 is 13. So we can't have more than 13 constructors output in, or the belt will be overloaded. So, man, it just seems nuts. What's the best way to do this? 13, it's not an easy number to work with. You're gonna have 80 total, right? Okay, so let's take 80 times 60. We'll be producing 4,800 quick wire every minute. Divide that by 780, the maximum capacity for a Mark V belt, and we've got 6.15. So we need more than 6 belts of quick wire. Oh, that's nuts. Of course, I don't need to make myself crazy about this because most of this quick wire will be used in this outpost. It's not like we're shipping back um, 6 belts, 6+ belts of quick wire to the storage shop. That's not a concern. So let's go with that. Um, I think I'm actually gonna go with 8 belts, not 6. We'll just have each group of 10 constructors will have its own belt of quick wire. And I think that'll be really easy to set up with this. This is actually really nice that we're outputting to either side. That's gonna make this easier. Okay, let's try to set up this. Let's see how it looks. 2, 3, 5. Okay, this will be 10 and 11. And what I'm going to do here, we're going to be merging this. Let's give it one space. We'll merge these 10 to the east, and we'll merge the next 10 to the west. Let's just make sure this really is 10 before I continue. Nope, that's 11. Okay, that's right. I wanted it to be 11. Now we'll add 9 more. And 20. So this will be a splitter. And this is still merging to the west. Constructor. I think we had one space between. Also merging to the west, but we need a space. There we go. Okay, now let's add the rest of our constructors. Okay. I should probably set up the recipes next. Standard quick wire. I think before we turn these on, between episodes, I'm gonna have to go and double up the fuel generators because we're getting close to the limit of what our power grid can handle. And it's just better safe than sorry. If when you're working with these oil generators, the fuel generators in update 3, because of the way that fluid works, once they shut off, it can be it's kind of a pain in the neck to get everything back on. Because you have to power the refineries to produce the heavy oil and convert that into turbo fuel, but you can't power the refineries if your fuel generators, need the turbo fuel that you don't have. So it's really in your best interest to play it safe and to keep the power on at all costs. What you really need is like a logic system with like a battery backup. We could make the batteries. That'd be ideal. Maybe in a future update. Okay, we've got the recipe set. Let's quickly put down these splitters. This is quite a big assembly. This is only half of our quick wire production. Now we need to just check check the placement of these mergers and then mimic it on the other side. So this will be merging to the west, and this will merge to the east. I don't think I have enough steel plates or iron plates to do all of this. We'll see how far we get. Maybe I do. Just barely. Okay. Now we can have another window here. This will be going up to the next floor for circuit boards. And what else is on the next floor? AI limiters? Yeah. That's what's nice about alternating here. Like, it made sense to input to the middle on the lower floor, but here, if we output to the middle on the lower floor, but here if we output to the sides, these belts are not going to conflict with each other. The conveyor lifts, I mean. So we'll finish this up. I'll finish this up between episodes. And the next episode we'll pick up on the next floor, converting this quick wire into circuit boards. That'll be the next step. We can't actually progress to AI limiters yet. This is where it gets kind of tricky because let's take a look at that recipe. Recipe for AI limiters. Oh. That's weird. Okay, we can do this. Okay. I know what I was thinking of. I was thinking about high-speed connectors. But yeah, AI limiters, this is excellent. The next episode will be AI limiters and circuit boards. This is just quick wire and copper sheets. Oh man, that means I'll have to construct the entire outpost in terms of walls and foundations because I need to get the the train set up on the roof to deliver the copper sheets. Let's take a look at circuit boards. Oh, we've got another autosaver. Where are our circuit boards? There we go. Which recipe are we using? I think we're just going to use... Oh, we're using this one for sure. Quick wire and plastic. We've got to use up this quick wire, and so we'll deliver plastic and copper sheets to the roof to make circuit boards. And man, plastic and copper sheets, 7.5 per minute, 8. Is it really? It seems like it may just be more. Have we made a mistake? Would it be better to just use a standard recipe? This is 4 to make 1. Okay, no, it's definitely better. This is 10 makes 7 instead of 4 making 1. This is much more efficient on the plastic, and that's what we need to be concerned about because it's a lot easier to expand our output of quick wire than it is to expand our output of plastic. And like using this recipe, it says 7.5 per minute, but it only makes 1 at a time. So if you take 4 times 7.5, this would need 30 plastic per minute. This would need, just like maybe 11 or 12 per minute. Much less plastic. So yeah, this is definitely the reason we're using the caterium circuit boards. Okay, so between now and the next episode, I will construct all the walls and the foundations to get us ready for the next level. And I'll finish connecting the belts and the power lines for this, for these 2 rows of quick wire constructors, and I'll do another 2 rows of quick wire constructors right over here. It'll be exactly the same, just shifted over a few foundations. And that's where we'll pick up. I'm really enjoying this. This is by far my favorite playthrough of Satisfactory so far on the Outpost style of building. The trains are so fun. Planning it has been, it's much more time intensive, but it's also, that's the fun of this game, right? Is planning and designing your factory. So while it's definitely more work, it's also been a lot more fun. I hope you guys, the 10 of you that are watching these videos, are enjoying it as much as I am. If you guys could subscribe and keep hitting the like button, I'd really appreciate it. And I'll see everyone in the next episode.